Med City movie guy. He's everywhere you want him to be.
So you want to be in love like the movies, but in the movies they're not in love.
News Talk 1340 KROC-AM. It's Rochester's Good Morning. Rich Peterson, along with the Med City movie guy, Chris McSannick.
Hi-yo.
Live in the studio. How you doing?
Good, good. The protesters are back out there. They, I guess they didn't like that I didn't like La La Land, so we had a nice little chat. Basically,
Did you calm them down? Because I wasn't real impressed with La La Land either.
So we had a nice chat. I mooned them, and then I came on inside, and because where I come from, that's how we roll.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Chicagoland.
That's right.
We're rough and tough as.
You don't like it?
Right there together.
You don't like it? That's what
right.
we do.
That's what.
Yeah. So a lot of interesting movie stuff. First of all. Sadness goes out over Powers Booth, who passed away a couple days ago.
Yeah, and he was never, well, I guess Jim Jones, the story, was the first one I remember.
Jonestown, that
Jonestown
thing.
Massacre.
That was pretty amazing. It was made for TV back then. Yeah,
yes.
It was very good. And, that's now, of course, everybody pats each other on the back if you're playing sort of a controversial role. But in those days, to play such a despicable character as Jones was, that was kind of a bold acting move, when you think about it. It paid off. I think he got an Emmy out of it, at least. I think
he, and he ended up playing a lot of bad guys.
Yeah, and
movies, and it was funny, and not funny, but I mean, interesting that I had seen Tombstone was on TV again.
That's an awesome movie. It's a great movie.
He was
Curly Bill,
and played it perfectly.
Oh, he
was awesome.
You know what? There's him and Val Kilmer. I mean, those are amazing performances. And if you're not a fan of westerns, you should check it out. And if you are a fan, you must already know about it. But Tombstone is, you see Kurt Russell as the lead, and people are like, I don't know if he could pull off White Earp, and I think he does a pretty good job. But that movie is just great on it. So many different levels. Yeah, that's a great movie. And so Powers Booth, what was he?
And young, 68.
68, yeah, 68.
Yeah. So what's this, another in the news is movies being, hijacked?
Hijacked, ransom, yeah.
And held for ransom, like, I think we were talking just before we went on the air, and you said Netflix is... said, well, okay, that's what you want to do. We'll release our movie a little bit early.
Right. So Netflix, I think...
certainly not going to pay you.
Yeah, I think somebody had gotten a hold of a series. Maybe it was... I'm not sure if it was...
Orange is the New Black.
Maybe. Okay, yeah. So they're like, whatever, Yeah,
it's not going to hurt them.
Yeah, because people who are fans already subscribe to Netflix. And yeah, you know what? If you are a huge fan, maybe you want to see it early and binge watch it, but they're not losing money on it. And
no.
And they just said, we'll just cut you off at the knees on that. And as far as some of the films...
And then the other one was a Disney film.
Yeah. My opinion's always been of some of that is that, when they say they're losing money, I think the money they lose, they probably wouldn't have had anyway. It's like some of the music that people illegal download. I mean, if you really like it, you'd probably buy it. And if you don't like it, and you did buy it, you can't return it. So it's like, I'm not really sure what you're losing. The movie thing's especially interesting because movies in the theater are so much different than movies at home or on your PC. So some movies might be all right, but you can't tell me that you've got a bootleg copy of Alien Covenant, which opens today, and think that that's going to be just as good on a PC and a low resolution as it's going to be on an IMAX or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe plot spoilers and things like that. Obviously, it's not legal and theaters and
it's not recommended, but you're not going to get anything out of it but in trouble if you get caught.
Well, yeah, just see the movie.
You're not going to get ransom money.
That's right. See the movie,
even if it is only $1,000 or.
Is that what they're asking? They're asking.
I think they were asking more than that, but like the ransomware for businesses, they were just doing $300, and it's the same, probably the same group of people. Although they thought this was North Koreans again.
North Koreans. It's always, when you watch
That
movies.
Kim Jong Un, maybe he is what he says he is, a miracle worker.
Okay.
He shot an 18 and 18 holes of golf, first time ever playing. You remember that, don't you?
No.
Yeah, that was the report. He shot 18.
Oh,
18 holes in one.
Oh, I see. See, I'm not into sports, so 18. Okay. 18
Yeah.
was the total score for 18
For 18
holes.
holes,
Gotcha.
yeah. You should
Yeah.
go out and play golf more.
And there's probably, yeah.
when you get out of the theater.
Yeah.
The question was, we'll talk about the new releases, but and we'll get to that question here in a little bit. But there's somebody else who's got a birthday today. Malcolm X.
Malcolm X was born today, yeah.
How old would he have been?
Well, he was born in 25, so 25 minus 17, that's 7.
About 80,
so what's that, 90,
whatever.
Something like that?
Anyway, he would have been fairly old. But the movie Malcolm X, starring Denzel Washington,
Denzel? That's
came
right.
out when?
That one I didn't write down. Well, no, I do have it. It's a
1992.
92.
And I have a copy in my hand.
You do?
Thank you very much. Oh, wait a minute. We're going to give it away to a listener.
Yeah, we ought to.
All right. If somebody would like a copy of the Malcolm X, but you got to give us your favorite Denzel
Yeah,
Washington
tell us your favorite movie and if we agree. And there's a lot of latitude here.
507-282-1234. Is this a regular...
it's a regular DVD.
Regular DVD. Okay. Denzel's been in so many movies. The Titans was great. The American Gangster.
American Gangster was... I only recently discovered that one, and then I watched it like 3 times because it's a pretty amazing film. So that's that. I also wanted to talk just a little bit about a movie that is coming out next week that I think we ought to start talking a lot about, Baywatch.
You know, I was just down in Miami, and they were shooting a movie, but I didn't know who to ask what movie they were shooting, but there were like 8 or 9 big 20th Century Fox trucks there.
Okay.
And when we got there, they were shooting probably about a 20-second little beach scene where a couple of guys with unbelievable bods were walking across the beach. But I don't know what movie it was, but the thought was, maybe they're making another Baywatch movie. Obviously, this would have been made a long time ago.
Sure. Well, they might be starting on a sequel already.
It could be. Let's take a phone call this morning. Hello there. You're on the air with the Med City movie guy. Who's this?
This is Chris.
Chris, how are you?
I'm well.
You have a favorite Denzel Washington movie?
Well, see, here's the thing. I can't remember the title of it.
That's a good one.
He was an investigator. It was very dark.
About what year do you remember?
Oh, gosh. It probably was like late 90s.
Let's see. There's The Bone Collector
Deja Vu. Oh, Bone
that
Collector.
one.
That's where he's in a hospital
Collector
bed the whole
with
time.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah. That was creepy.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting film, yeah.
Hey, you want the Malcolm X movie, Chris?
Absolutely.
Well, good. Just stop by here at KROC, and we'll have it with a sticker on there with your name on it.
Awesome.
And it's right
Thank
at the
you so
front
much.
desk. You bet. Thanks for listening. Now, you've met Denzel Washington.
I know. I don't think he was...
You're a name dropper.
You know
Let's
what?
go
I am,
here.
and I don't think he was as pleased to meet me as I was to meet him. By the way, as is usually the case with these celebrities, and you know,
They don't actually stop and say, "Chris,
there he is.
How are
There
you?
he
Come on
is.
over,
Yeah.
sit down."
Yeah, and you know, and that's kind of what the segue was, with my comment just before we came on the air about this memo that Steve Harvey wrote that was making waves last week, where
about him not wanting people to just walk in on him.
Yeah, don't come in when I'm in the makeup chair. When I come out of my office, don't be standing there waiting.
But why should that be shocking?
No, well, I think it is because the first thing people thought was, oh, everybody likes Steve Harvey, and now this guy's like a real jerk that he doesn't want anybody, coming up to him and stuff like that. But I've been at enough of these. I don't want to say I'm a veteran, but I think I've been to 8 or 9 of these award shows, and I can tell you, as somebody on the other side of it, on the fan side of it, that there are tons of people waiting for John Voight to turn around and not notice that there's somebody right there in his face saying, "Hey, good to meet you," And I could see where that would get old after a while. I mean, there were 3 or 4 of us who happened to catch Brad Pitt coming out of the restroom, and I wasn't one of them, but I saw 2 or 3 people practically, just jump on the guy, and it's like I can't even use the restroom. And there was something I think in the news the other day where there was a politician or something, and they said, because of this person they closed off the restrooms at some event. It's like, well, that's why, because fans are, I don't want to say they're relentless, but I think they can go a little overboard. And
they think they're the only person that's going to go up and talk to them. They just see that moment, and yet it's their whole life that somebody's constantly coming up to him, which is essentially his memo. I see that it was very direct in telling his employees that they should not approach him without an appointment. This is because he said he'd always had a policy where anybody that works on the show and everything could come up, and there was no problem there. But he said that a lot of people were taking advantage of it, and he couldn't even take a walk and go to his dressing room or go to the restroom or anything else without somebody coming up, banging on the door. Hey, Steve, can we get together later? Hey, I'm in the toilet.
I don't.
So I guess I don't blame him for writing a memo that to his staff. And this was an a memo, inside memo that somebody else decided, they probably got ticked off because they wanted to get an autograph for their, cousin Louis.
Well, some of them actually, I guess, brought friends and family, to the taping, and, we're trying to introduce them to.
Yeah, sure. I know Steve. Sure, I can. Yeah, come on up. I'll introduce
he's a good guy,
Yeah.
So
anyway, no more.
Tough. Yeah, so no more.
Steve's still probably used to be a nice guy. Seems like it on TV anyway.
Well, I think, you got to have, you got to have some time, to come up with these, to come up with your witticisms and all that, and it's got to be tough. So anyway, so there's
got any new movies coming out here anytime soon? Is he working on anything?
Not as far as I know. I know the last thing we were talking also about the movie Fences, which is I believe it's still on the Redbox. If you haven't seen it, it's one of those movies that you could see on a small screen. We talked about that just a minute ago with the piracy. A lot of movies don't do well on a small screen, but Fences does. It's basically the filming of a play, I guess I would call it. Apparently a famous play August Wilson wrote, and it did well on Broadway. And I think everybody likes Denzel. Viola Davis is in there, does a great job. So it's a great drama. And as far as I know, that was one of the last things that I think he had on his radar. But he's definitely not really a summer kind of film guy anyway, because summer is usually
big blockbusters,
wacky
more,
stuff, and
he's a good actor. He doesn't need to have all the sound effects.
I think he could be in Baywatch, and which is where we kind of left off, because Baywatch is gonna star the next president of the United States, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Have you heard about that?
No, he's gonna run too. Why not?
Yeah, well, Dwayne's in Baywatch,
if Trump can make it, anybody can.
Well,
if Reagan could make it, of course, he had some political background.
But Dwayne Johnson has said he was considering a run for president, so I think that's interesting.
It's just probably,
and Zac Efron maybe VP. What do you think?
Hey, could happen.
I don't know. That would be an interesting administration. That's all I have to say.
Or maybe one of the Baywatch babes.
Well, there you go. So it wouldn't be first lady, it'd be first babe. Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
I think that could work. So anyway, this kind of joins this legacy of, hey, here's a TV show, let's bring it to the big screen, like we did 21 Jump Street.
I'm not going to be standing in line for this movie, are you?
Yeah, I am, actually. It looks like it's going to be very funny.
It's just a comedy. It's not meant as a serious thing.
Oh, you're funny. No, I don't think it's meant as anything serious. And, just Dwayne Johnson, holy cow, this guy's like totally blowing up. I mean, he's in everything. Of course, he was in the Fate of the Furious, the Fast and Furious, the latest installment of that. Which
he has made himself into a great, popular character.
Yeah, I mean,
and it just seems like that's probably the way he is. But just don't go interrupt him.
Don't interrupt
him. Don't
tap him on the shoulder. I know, right?
He's still got the WWE moves.
And I'll tell you something. He seems versatile too, because I've seen him in a couple of less serious dramas, and Yeah,
And the Disney voices in the cartoons.
Yeah, Moana, he was just in that one. So that's coming up, Baywatch. I think that'll be a big one.
They mentioned Aliens.
Alien is Alien
coming out.
Covenant.
You haven't seen it yet
I have
because
not
it's
seen
not
it.
out.
It's not. Well, it's out now today. I probably could have went this morning, but I prefer to be here.
You could have gone at midnight. Did they have a midnight
Oh,
showing?
midnight.
They don't do that very often.
No, they probably did. Midnight. I'm
what
off.
else is coming out here?
So, Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul. Now, this is the 4th installment, and I got to tell you something. I liked the first 3. I really did. There's something in that humor, I think, that resonates with sort of the little boy in a lot of us, and I did like it. Now, this one I'm not as optimistic about because they've totally changed the cast. Now they kind of have to because the kid
gets old.
Kids gotten old.
He's no longer a kid.
But they changed everybody, and there's actually even a little pushback from fans. There's a hashtag, Not My Heffleys. That's the name of the family.
Yeah.
Heffley. So # Not My Heffleys. So we'll see how well that one
Pressure's
does.
on.
Yeah, I'm not as optimistic about that. Next week, of course. And the other one that's out now is called Everything. This is a teenager who's lived in a sheltered life, allergic, kind of like if you remember. Do you remember The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, the John Travolta movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that, I think. We'll see. Next week, Pirates of the Caribbean. That's going to be huge. And I think this one's going to have Keith Richards in it, right? As the father? No, seriously.
Is it really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty serious.
Yeah, well, he was in the other one, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to have a bigger role in this one. And then holy cow,
He doesn't even need makeup.
no, I think that's what the whole point was. That no, seriously, that when Johnny Depp was thinking about how he would do Jack Sparrow, he said it'd be kind of like Keith Richards. So it was like the other way around. Well,
it should be a good good weekend to see some movies. It looks like a rainy one, and you would recommend.
Oh, I think there's still some great stuff out there to see. I think Boss Baby is funny. It kind of, I would say it skews towards older people, even though it's an animated film, but that has a lot of laughs. Going in Style is still out there if you're looking at something that skews older. Fate of the Furious, I like that one a lot. Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy, that's huge. That's killing it. Snatched, okay, let me tell you one thing real quick. This is...
and then we'll have to wrap it up.
Sure. Goldie Hawn gave me my start in show business. I don't know. Yeah,
She did.
See,
name dropper.
My wife and I were extras in one of her movies, but this one is not good. So...
Which movie were you an extra in?
It was a movie called what was it called? Wildcats. I think she was a football coach, high school football coach.
I remember that movie, but I don't remember your part. I'll have to revisit.
It was also
that.
Wesley Snipes' first film, so we have not gone that. We have not.
It's not been quite the parallel career.
No, things have not worked out. No. So.
Chris, thanks for coming in. You got your website?
TheMedCityMovieGuy.com.
Excellent. Check it out, and check out the movies. We'll see you next month.
That's all for now. Visit my friend Chris Misanek, the Med City Movie Guy, on YouTube, Facebook, and at themedcitymovieguy.com.